All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Um, my name is Tracy. Working out the name here, I think I'm going to go with Tracy's Take or Tracy's Takes. I think that's more catchy, so I think moving forward, that's what I'm going to stick with. Full apology here. I know that I said that I was going to do a video about the Gorge, and I intend to. Unforeseen circumstances had happened last night, and then when I woke up this morning, I realized that the final two episodes of Spider-Man the animated series dropped. They were great, so I'm gonna do a full spoiler discussion about that series first, and then I'll drop the Gorge review later on. So what we do here on the channel, just to give a quick recap, I discuss and go over movies and TV shows. I try to give you an insight on what I thought about the movie and TV show, maybe to better educate you on whether or not you want to give it a shot. As I mentioned before, this is a full spoiler discussion, so if you have not watched this show, please like, subscribe, favorite this episode, go watch the show first, and then come back and watch the video. Alright, with that down, I'm going to go over this show here. It was great. It exceeded all expectations, honestly. As I mentioned in the overview of the show, the animation style is, for me, a little weird, but trust me, the plot's so good in this show that you really just get over that pretty quick. The character arcs in the show were phenomenal. I love they kept it really isolated. They didn't oversaturate this show with a bunch of B characters. They really left it just enough for there to be enough time in this 10 episode series or season for them to be able to flesh out each character. I love that they did not give Peter Parker a love interest. I love that it didn't. I know it's going to be weird to say this, but I'm actually happy they did put a MJ or some version of MJ or another love interest in the show. He has a mediocre crush on his babysitter from back in the day, but it's really not thick into the plot, and she's oddly in his grade in high school, which is a little weird, but that's neither here nor there. The show's great. They put enough characters in there close enough to Peter Parker for you to care about each character. Aunt May, I did mention her in the overview. She's great. The dynamic between her and Peter is great. It, like most TV shows, animated series, or movies about Peter Parker, she is playing the Aunt May, mother, father, best friend of Peter Parker in the show. Does a great job. Nico in the show is phenomenal. I love the teenage hypocritical side of it, where she finds out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man accidentally and then gets so upset with him that he's Spider-Man that he didn't tell her, just to find out in the show as the viewer that she was hiding a secret herself the whole time. Love that. That was a great choice for a little bit of high school drama there. Really loved the Tombstone story. It was great. They didn't give him the mustache twirling, he's a villain outright kind of story. It really gives you the sense that he really just is a kid from a rough side of town that's just making some bad choices. They fleshed out his character very well, let you know what led him down the path that he is currently on. They did, towards the end, kind of give him like close to the comic book narrative. He does become like invulnerable through some tech that Doc Ock created. He does, at the very end, you see that his hands turn that concrete, where the tips of his fingers are turn that concrete kind of zombie look that he has in the comics. Excellent choice there. Doc Ock is great. I loved like the little warehouse lab thing they did with him, like humble beginnings Doc Ock. That was really fantastic. I love how they threw in that really he got his scientific start with Norman Osborn, and you sense some betrayal there. They did a really good scene where Norman Osborn goes to the jail cell after Doc Ock gets caught. He gets arrested because Norman really got him set up. But he really rubs it in his face. Like it makes you, because they gave Norman Osborn kind of a noble-esque start in the show. So it really, I love how they really use that scene to show you out of the two of them which one is the more nefarious, which is far and away, if you watch the show, far and away Norman Osborn here. The Nico plot was great. The Pearl plot was great. They didn't overuse her. I'm glad they didn't overuse her, because it would have turned into the Pearl and Spider-Man show really quick, because of Peter Parker's baby childhood crush on the girl. They did a really good job with Tombstone and Pearl, though, kind of showing you, using her to show you his progression or his digression from this athlete star pupil to like, hey, I gotta do what's right for my family, and this is the direction it's taking me in. Great story arc for him. Great story arc for him. Norman Osborn really plays a big part in this. He gives Peter Parker this internship that really helped the plot move along really good. You find out that that internship was more of Norman Osborn being nefarious. He was actually using the Genius Children to create this tech to open this wormhole that really it really ties together really good. This show is great, people. If you have not watched this show, give it a shot. It is good. I love the Ouroboros of it all. What I mean by that is, you find out that because Norman Osborn takes an interest in Peter Parker, or in Spider-Man, who he eventually finds out is Peter Parker. Because of his interest in Spider-Man and his abilities, Norman Osborn gets a vial of Peter Parker's blood, creates this spider. He also used the kids to create this wormhole. Like I mentioned, he was using the Genius Kids for his own nefarious devices. He had them create this engine and a bunch of other stuff that opened the wormhole, or a gateway, so be it, that allowed this entity to come through. In that debacle, Doctor Strange comes in. He tries to intervene. The entity does make it through, like I mentioned. In that fight, Peter Parker breaks the glass that's holding the spider. Doctor Strange accidentally opens a time hole. He tries to just send this thing somewhere else, but because the thing grabbed a hold of his time stone, he ended up going back in time. The spider falls in this little hole, bites Peter Parker, which turns Peter Parker into Spider-Man. So it really was cool how Spider-Man was the reason why Spider-Man became Spider-Man in the first place. Like, the Ouroboros of it was great. I loved it. That really made the ending of that show fantastic. The ending with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, that little talk they had at the end, kind of really encouraging him that he is good enough, because that was one of the things in the show that Peter or Spider-Man struggled with, was that, will he be good enough to handle the things that's coming towards him and moving forward in the future. Just trying to be a good guy, trying to be a hero, trying to save and help people. That was awesome. That was cute. That was very nice. Very nice touch. Very nice touch. This show was really chef's kiss, boys. It really was. I know that I mentioned in the overview that there's probably going to be a season 2. I was about 60 to 65% sure at that point. But now that I've watched the full show, I'm about 98% sure there's a season 2. If they don't do a season 2, then what were we doing here? They left so much meat on the table. They didn't wrap up Nico's story. There was a really cute, nice scene there where you kind of see what she really is able to do at the end. Like I mentioned, that scene with Norman Osborn and Dr. Octavius at the jail. You really see that Doc Ock is not done. He is fed up with Norman Osborn and his shenanigans and always taking his work. So he's definitely not done. For obvious reasons, I don't think that Norman Osborn is going to give up on being who he is. His son really takes, and I didn't mention his son before, his son had a good role in the show too. He wasn't really used that often, which is kind of why I almost overlooked him. He had a really good dynamic between him, Peter, and Nico, but it really was just more of a placeholder. But I think that in season 2, he's going to have a bigger role because in the end, he creates his own organization. Well, where, if I'm assuming correctly, based on what they led us to believe, he's going to kind of be the guy in the chair moving forward for Peter and the other genius kids in the area. I am looking forward to seeing where Tombstone's story goes, because he kind of is a good guy, but he's kind of doing some messed up stuff. So, love to see where they take that. I'm just looking forward to season 2, man. I may watch this show again. That's how good this show was. Give it a shot. I may watch it if I get bored. I may just put it back on just to catch any Easter eggs I might have missed. Speaking of Easter eggs, they did drop a lot of Easter eggs in the show for us comic book geeks that you would, like a few characters pop in and out that you, if you were familiar with the comics, you're going to definitely recognize them. But the good thing about the show that they did a really good job. You don't have to be comic book familiar to understand what these people are doing in the series. So it's just an Easter egg. It's not going to spoil anything if you don't know who they are at all. If I had to give it a Tracy score, I'm big on this show, man. I think it's an 8.5 out of 10. It's great, especially with some of the stuff that Disney Plus has dropped being from great to like bad, and then you never really know what you're gonna get. This was a pleasant surprise. I'm big on it. I think that you should 100% give it a try, and it's a good show to even let your kids watch if they're not even in the Spider-Man yet. This is a great stepping stone for them. I can't speak enough on it, man. Like I mentioned, I'm going to try this time to for sure get you guys that the Gorge video. I just had some unforeseen circumstances happen last night, and then as I mentioned, they dropped this just both episodes all at once, finished the season up, so I just had to get you guys that review. But I will see you guys at the next video. Thank you for watching and take care.